palatial confines of our Raleigh office on the Falls of Moose.
You're live now?
Convenient.
Okay, so you guys are actually live.
Oh,
Okay.
how
So we're just
exciting.
testing right now.
Okay, it's live
Testing.
test.
1,
Okay.
2, 1, 2.
Let's
So,
see.
hello, everybody. Dr. Wickham Simonds here, the casual keto doctor from Dr. Simonds Metabolics and Weight Loss, live in our Raleigh office.
So you guys are
Okay.
live right now.
Excellent.
All right.
Is there a little bit of a lag?
Maybe a little bit of a lag, yeah. Or it could be just my laptop.
All right, so that looks acceptable to you. The sound's okay.
Sounds
there?
good? Okay.
Wonderful.
Okay. Now, just let
I
me-
can actually, do you want me to leave this here so they can see? Is that helpful or not?
It doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm fine either way.
Probably weird me out.
Yeah. So,
There's a little bit of a lag.
do we have anybody? I'm going to go forward assuming that absolutely nobody will log into this thing, and if one person does, I'll be happy.
Okay, good.
But
You have
Parents
5
are
people
logged in.
viewing it right now.
5.
Say hi to your 5 people.
Okay. All right.
Hi, Mom and
Very
Dad.
good. Okay. Yeah.
Let them know that we're going live.
It's 10 now.
All
Okay.
right,
It's
and
10
we're
o'clock.
live.
We are
Welcome.
live. So I'm Dr. Wickham Simonds, the casual keto doctor, and from Dr. Simonds Metabolics and Weight Loss, coming to you live from our Raleigh office on Falls of Moose Road, just across from Lafayette Village, if you know where that is. And I'm here with Michelle Kennedy. Michelle, would you like to tell the viewers, I think some of them may be from our Durham office and don't really know you, just a little bit about who you are, your qualifications, that sort of thing.
Absolutely. So I'm a family nurse practitioner. I've worked here for almost 8 years, and I have really, really enjoyed it. I've been primarily in our Raleigh office, so I may not have met a lot of the Durham folk. I started in Durham though, so go back and forth now. But what I love about our Raleigh location is it's right off 540. It's next to Piper's Tavern, across from Lafayette Village. Very easy to get to, and the staff, just like in Durham, is wonderful here. So you will get well taken care of.
That's right. So, Michelle, I'll say, is you won't find a nurse practitioner in this country that's more qualified to practice obesity medicine. Thank you, Roxanne Bragg, for
Hello,
tuning
Roxanne.
in and being part of this event. And so, anyway, this is a Ask Me Anything session. And you can find us by searching hashtag #LiveSimonsAMA. And we have some questions that are submitted already, and maybe we can start on those. I've got some kind of bread and butter questions, but Michelle, I gave you a copy. Let's start with the one that's a little bit more, that maybe wouldn't be something that a lot of people would think of initially. I think it's kind of a cool question, so let's start with that.
Yeah, so Linda asks, so I am staying pretty much at home with my spouse or at art studio, spouse in next room, feeling stressed. Stress is not from fear of the virus, but from being with a family member so much. When I feel this stress, I seem to stop losing weight, actually gain weight. In the past, I thought it was a cortisol issue. I would take ashwagandha. It seemed to help, but would also make me less interested in being active. Should I take the ashwagandha? If so, how much? What are your thoughts and other recommendations? So thank you, Linda, for that question. It's an excellent question.
Yeah, so I'm not an ashwagandha specialist. But
I take it.
You do?
And
Okay,
it's
so
wonderful.
Michelle, I told her she knows a lot about a lot of stuff. And so when I showed her this question, she immediately said, oh, yeah, I like this.
Yeah.
So it can be used for this purpose to lower your cortisol levels. Right?
Yes.
When you're stressed, your adrenal glands make more cortisol, and it's actually used for a number of different things. It's a plant that you will find native. It's kind of got some bark on it and a yellow flower. You find it native in northern Africa and India, and it has been used medicinally for thousands of years in other countries, and successfully to treat a lot of different things. So when you read that question, what do you think a good answer to that would be?
So ashwagandha, being an adaptogen, it can help in so many ways. And Linda has made it clear that she actually has gotten benefit from it before. So even though it makes her feel like she wants to be less active, if it helps with weight loss, it's not the physical activity that is of primary importance. It's getting that weight off. So if the ashwagandha has helped, I would definitely go back on it, Linda. And if you're a little less active, that is okay.
Yeah, I agree. So if it's what causes you to lose weight, then I think I would stick with it whether you exercise or not. So exercise, I always say, is good for health. It is, but it is not necessarily the key to weight loss, right?
Exactly.
So interestingly enough, this will be something, Linda, that only you can decide for yourself. But exercise also happens to be very good stress relief, and it's going to help you sleep better. And so, maybe not taking the ashwagandha is a good idea if you're going to exercise, because that is a good way to deal with stress. If you notice that that's not leading to weight loss, maybe go take it. Stop exercising if that's the way you feel, and as long as you're losing weight, I'm cool with that.
And take it in the evenings because it can help with sleep.
Yeah, that's right.
And about 500 milligrams is typically a dose that is used, but there's no set recommendation given that it's an herbal regimen.
Okay. Well, that kind of ties into another question we got from Grant, and he's asking about exercise. He can't go to his gym, because of the coronavirus.
No one can.
That's right. The gyms are all closed, and he's at home with his children and doesn't have an uninterrupted hour of time to exercise per se. So his question is in regard to this. Do we have any thoughts on that? And I would say to Grant, look, there's a lot you can do. When you talk about physical activity and weight loss, actually, some of the things that you wouldn't consider that important are actually more important. So if you're working, for example, on a computer, perhaps standing up at your kitchen counter and doing it, this sort of thing has a bigger impact on your weight than actually setting aside time and exercising for an hour. So we call that non-exercise activity thermogenesis. The acronym is NEAT, right? And it's just being more active, fidgeting more, moving around a little more. And so that would be my first piece of advice. My second piece of advice, being coming out of an Army career, is that I was in a lot of places where you couldn't formally exercise, but I remember I was working in a very busy clinic in Kuwait one time, and I would see in 10 hours 70 people and as patients, and just in between patient encounters, I would drop down and do 10 push-ups. Okay, well, that's 70 patients. That's 700 push-ups in a day. Well, I tell you, that's a lot of push-ups. I lost a lot of weight doing that, and I never had to formally exercise, right? So I think that trying to figure out ways to be more physically active without thinking of it as a formal exercise is actually the way to approach that.
I agree. And other things you can do besides the push-ups are, if you can't do them on the floor, wall push-ups. You can do lunges. You can do squats.
That's right.
I tell a lot of our ladies who are drinking a lot of water, using the restroom a lot, every time you go to the restroom, do 5 squats.
That's it.
5 squats, right?
Bingo.
When you're brushing your teeth, do some squats, right? You just fit it in. It doesn't have to be organized or for a long period of time. It's the movement that counts.
Yeah, excellent. I want to thank everybody who's online and checking us out right now. We really appreciate your attendance. For those of you who maybe didn't tune in, right at the beginning, I'm Dr. Simonds. This is Michelle Kennedy, a nurse practitioner here at our practice. We're in our Raleigh office on Falls of Moose Road, way out by 540 across from Lafayette Village and next to Piper's Tavern. Many of you know where that is, and we appreciate your attendance. And this is our Ask Me Anything session. We can be found if you search for us at #LiveSimonsAMA. Or just search Dr. Simonds Weight Loss in Facebook search. So if you have questions, feel free to submit them. I have a producer here, and the producer will show the questions to us, and we'll be glad to answer them. So I have another question. Grant sent in several questions, and I actually know Grant, and I don't know if Grant's in attendance right now, but Grant's the kind of guy who loves asking questions. So his question is about he has some practical questions. Are we open? Because he likes our protein bars. And he they're so good, he actually likes them for dessert. And so he cuts them up and uses them as a kind of a sweet treat. And he wants to know some of the things that we have protein bar wise you can't get at other places. And so he wants to know if we're open and can he come by and get some of those. And normally that would be kind of a question that seems pointless, but because we're in the middle of this coronavirus outbreak, I would say we are open. We're taking all the precautions that we should take. There's no sick staff members here. We ask you, if you're sick, don't come to our office. Call us first. We can do appointments over the phone if that's necessary and send you your medicine. But we are open for business in normal hours in both locations, and there's never really a gathering of 10 people or more in our office at any time. And I would say that the social distancing is good in our office, right? But you and I are sitting here kind of close together, but we had to do this for the Facebook Live again. It's kind of like doing a press conference. You kind of got to get near somebody to get into the camera's view. But neither one of us are symptomatic. So we want to let everybody know that we are open, and our patients have responded to that. We had some very busy days last week, and I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that people just wanted to get out of the house and away from their spouse and kids. So thanks, Barbara. We're trying to get you connected. Hang in there, okay? Thanks for trying to connect, and we're working on that now.
And regarding the protein marketplace,
that's right.
In addition to protein bars, we have replacement shakes, chips, popcorn. I know right now people are struggling with the snackiness, being at home, having access to your pantry. The store is being a little crazy, so just know if you come by here, you can pick up a lot of really good options that are shelf stable and will fit inside of the plan when it comes to your weight loss. So come on in, we are open. Yeah, that's right.
We do actually have a lot of comments about this. This kind of thing has produced a lot of stress, and people, I always kind of say, instead of drinking a quart of booze or using some street drugs, they use food like a drug, right?
Absolutely.
And so
it's comforting.
That's right. So it works on some of those same centers in your brain. It helps relieve the stress temporarily, and we have the kind of snacks here, I think, that would fit inside of a smart way to go about doing that stuff, and not a counterproductive way.
Absolutely.
Grant asked another question about, he had some questions about, if he was eating this protein and the protein bars and stuff, he was worried that going over or about 110 grams a day of protein might be too much. And this is something that I've been asked from patients, is this going to mess your kidneys up or something like that?
Yeah, how much protein is too much protein is something we get asked a lot. And quite frankly, the evidence is just not there to support that too much protein would ever have a negative impact on your kidneys.
That's right. That is a myth. And if you are on dialysis, I promise you need to watch that sort of thing. But if you're not, trust me, you can't eat too much protein. I dare you to try to do it. You try to eat 200, 300, 400 grams of protein a day, and you'll find you can't do it.
Yeah, it's very filling.
That's right, yeah. And so, anyway,
welcome, Barbara.
Barbara, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for being persistent and hanging in there. So don't worry that you're going to get too much protein. It's like trying to eat the 72-ounce steak at the steakhouse and win the prize, right? No one can ever do it because you just stop at the right time. Its effect on your satiety is too profound. So you'll never get too much of that.
And when it comes to protein, a lot of our patients abide by the about 30 grams per meal rule. It's not always the case, but generally a healthy protein intake is about 30 grams per meal, which is about 4 ounces of steak, fish, chicken, a couple of eggs with some cheese on it. So it's easy to get an appropriate amount of protein and hard to get too much.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. and you make a good point. Eat until you're satisfied. Give your body a chance to sense how much you're eating. Don't eat it too fast, and you'll find that 4 to 6 ounces. I say this particularly to men women, that's not a problem for the most part, but guys tend to think big when it comes to protein portions, and if they really just pay attention to their body, they'll realize that 4 or 5 or 6 ounces is often enough to make them feel very full if they'll give it 15 or 20 minutes, right? Absolutely. So there's no need, just because you're doing a low carb diet, to try to eat more than you should. All right, so we got a question from Barbara. Okay, so Barbara's not going to the store as often during this COVID-19 outbreak for fresh produce. What might be some alternatives when you're not going to the store as often? Well, if it was the middle of the summer and you had a garden, then you'd be set to go, right?
If only.
But I tell you what might be, I can't remember the name, but there are some delivery services.
Which is Instacart.
Right. There you go.
Yes.
You can have that delivered.
Yes.
Instacart, you say?
Instacart,
Yeah.
Yes. Pretty much every grocery store, definitely in our area, participates where you can put an order in online and someone will shop for you. If something's missing from your order, they can't find it, they will call you or text you to ask if you want a replacement, and they will bring it right to your door. And if you don't want to see them, they can drop it on your porch and walk away. So Instacart is really helpful in times like this to get fresh, frozen, whatever you need.
Yeah.
I guess we can create a list to help you with your Instacart order.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't know, Barbara may have particular preferences. For example, I don't much care for green beans, right? So I don't want to order Barbara green beans if she doesn't like them. But but that's really good. And I know that there's also been these, I can't remember the names off the top of my head, but local farmers in this area that also do some delivery type stuff in addition to the Instacart idea. And I bet if you just a Google search and with those kind of search terms would yield some hits so that you could get fresh meat and produce and stuff like that.
And we're going to go ahead and update some grocery list ideas on our Facebook page, so keep a lookout on that so we can help you with very good questions like this. And remember too, don't be afraid of frozen. Right now, getting fresh can be hard, and frozen vegetables are an excellent option. You can stock up on them as long as you have the freezer space. You can do all kinds of leafy greens, asparagus, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, and you can bake it, you can microwave it, put some seasoning on it, and it is almost just as good as the fresh, and it doesn't go bad.
Hey, thank you. You can dress it up, and it still tastes great. So Kara asks a question. We're going to transition off of that idea. Kara asks a basic question, and it's one I'm glad she's asking, and I'll take the opportunity now in case you just tuned in. I'm Dr. Simonds. This is Michelle Kennedy. She's a nurse practitioner here at our practice. We're in our Raleigh office doing an Ask Me Anything session on Facebook. And our Raleigh office is on Falls of Noose Road out by Lafayette Village and next to Piper's Tavern. And we're glad you tuned in. So the question from Kara is, are you open and do we do some telemedicine services? And the answer is yes to both. Okay, we are open. And our office is a very safe place to come from a disease transmission standpoint. Everything is clean. We're taking all the precautions. We've been very aggressive about that. We're not allowing any sick staff members to work. And we ask you as patients, do not come in if you're sick. If you, for whatever reason, feel like you don't need to come in, you should call us. We will set up a telephone follow-up visit with you. And in this sort of scenario, what we'll do is we'll conduct the telephone interview just like we would if you were in the office. And for many of you who've come to see us for a long time, we have a good idea what your blood pressure is, for example. So it's not critical for most of you that we have that reading unless we've had a bunch of high readings, for example, in which case we might have you go get a blood pressure reading for us. But most times, if you can just weigh yourself and give us some information about your diet and so forth, we can conduct the interview over the phone. We can then UPS you your medicine. And so every afternoon we're sending that out via UPS, and in this area it'll be to you the next day. And the charge will be the same as coming to the office, and there'll be $15 for the UPS shipping. We do have an on-site pharmacy, so that's one nice convenience about this practice is you won't have to go to a pharmacy where there might be other sick people to get your medication filled. We send it right to your door. So.
And by the way, check out our recipes, The Casual Keto Doctor, and we have a link on the website.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So that's, by the way, is really the Casual Keto Doctor Instagram site. If you've not checked that out, you need to check it out.
It's phenomenal.
That thing is loaded with recipes and great ideas, and so it's kind of a selfish promotion here since I'm the Casual Keto Doctor guy, but a lot of my patients comment on this, and it's really got some great information on there.
And it's important right now more than ever because most of us are spending more times in our homes. We're having to cook more meals at home, even though restaurants are currently still doing takeout. It is cheaper and maybe safer to cook a little bit more at home, and it's going to help you on your weight loss journey. So those recipes are going to become invaluable when you're doing some meal prep for being at home for longer periods of time than you're used to.
Okay, yeah, at the Casual Keto Doctor. That's how you find us at on Instagram. It's at the Casual Keto Doctor. Okay, we got a question from Adrian. It's about eating from stress of all this stuff. Well, she asked, what supplements do you recommend taking regularly? Well, I assume, Adrian, you're talking about the current stress of all the things that are currently happening. I think we all share a little bit of that right now.
Thank you for your question.
Yeah,
this is an excellent question because everyone is thinking it, even if they haven't asked it.
Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in and submitting these questions. We really are appreciative of that. So I think we'll get Michelle's take and then my take on this because they might be the same take and it might be a different take. What do you think about this?
Well, we already talked about ashwagandha a little bit. Right now, I think it's best to get supplements on Amazon. So, because it's going to be hard in the stores to get what you need. But when it comes to stress and cortisol, ashwagandha, we mentioned earlier, 500 milligrams a day, that can help a lot with stress. Not a supplement, but we also touched on earlier, physical activity, really, really important for stress relief. And that doesn't have to mean being at a gym or spending an hour or even 30 straight minutes doing any one thing. So moving our bodies is important. And even though, we do need to practice social distancing, and today it's a little bit chilly, being outside, getting fresh air, getting a little sunshine when it's available, that is also really important as well. And getting enough sleep. And if you need help with sleep, a little bit of melatonin can be okay, 0.5 milligram to 1 milligram at night in order to help with sleep. Some people will do fish oil, I know, when it comes, just with anti-inflammatory benefit. I prefer just eating more fish, right, instead of having to get it from a supplement. But we do have a wonderful omega-3 that we carry in our office. And then, of course, CBD oil, something that we have been carrying in our practice for a little while now. It's good for stress relief, it's good for sleep, it's anti-inflammatory,
That's right.
Good for pain, so those aches and pains from maybe sitting more than we should be with working from home and being a little self-quarantined here. So the CBD oil is definitely a good one.
And I will say this, another selfish plug, because I hadn't announced it yet, but when we open our offices today, I'm kind of doing think of it as a coronavirus special, right? I had a teleconference with Garrett Perdue, the owner and founder of Root Bioscience, where they make the CBD out here in the Research Triangle Park. This was on Thursday. And the brand that we carried, their brand is called Naternal. And we have it here in the office. Many of you have tried it. For the remaining 2 weeks of the month, all of their products that you get from our office will be 50% off, half price. And so CBD does have a big impact on your sleep.
Yes.
And so if the stress of this sort of thing, I actually think it is a good supplement for stress, and you will find it to be very helpful if you try it. And this would be a good time when the price is reduced. Now, I want to continue to address Adrian's question, though, from a different standpoint, and that is stress causes, there's a part of your brain called the amygdala, and it's releasing these chemicals when you're under stress that say, hey, do something to stop. It's like a clanging cymbal, right? And the other parts of your brain are like, can you please shut up, right? And so these other parts of your brain release pleasure chemicals that stop that. And so people activate these other parts of your brain doing different things. And one of them is eating this sort of stuff. It's kind of like this cravey, addicting style junk food, right?
Ultra processed.
Exactly, right. And so they act on addiction centers in your brain, which release pleasure chemicals and stop that anxiety reaction that's going on. And so that's the pattern that's there. The stress causes the amygdala to get worked up, and then you feel like you have to relieve that by doing something that activates these addiction centers in your brain. Now, there is a prescription medication that we will often add to phentermine in our practice called Topiramate. And Topiramate blocks some of the, pleasure responses to things like junk food. And so you don't get nearly the pleasure response from it. Now that kind of forces you to do some of these other things we've talked about to deal with your stress, right? To exercise, for example, to take supplements. If you think you would want to try the Topiramate, let us know at your office visit or your telephone follow-up, and we can talk with you about that. I got a question here from Connie. Let's see. Okay. How do you interpret this, Michelle?
So I think,
it's from Connie.
I think Connie, thank you for the question, is asking about her emotional responses to rebel against staying on plan.
Right.
And
okay,
how do I work past this? And this is
Right.
an excellent, excellent question, because I think a lot of folks, just like Dr. Simonds was saying, we have this wiring where when we feel stressed out, we feel like we need to relieve it immediately. And food is at all of our fingertips. That's just the way it is. So that seems like the easy route. Other things that activate the same reward centers, though, are things like exercise and things like dancing, singing, and physical touch.
That's right.
And that can be platonic physical touch or a form of exercise now that you're stuck in the house with maybe someone that you like enough to be more than platonic with. So anything that gets you those pleasure chemicals that's not food are things you really want to start to try to incorporate.
That is correct. Now, I'll throw in for those of you who are of reproductive age, should I say, take all necessary contraception. I kind of worry that at this time, because of this sort of thing, that
9 months.
Yeah, exactly. That at Christmas time and New Year's, we're going to have a ton of babies, and so
or divorces.
Oh, that's right.
Hopefully, we'll be in the middle.
Yeah, right. So anyway, I thought I'd throw that funny note in there. That is a common. I have sorted through this sort of emotion in my life for a long time. You kind of get to a point on some stuff where you say, just hey, what the heck, man? This is ridiculous what I'm having to go through here. I don't want to think about diet. Show me the nachos and beer. And so that, but that really doesn't solve your problem. It really doesn't, and it's not temporarily, and then after you do it, then you're sitting there thinking, why did I do that?
Comes the regret.
That's right.
And the shame, and the blame.
Right. It's kind of a vicious cycle. So it's just much easier to find something more productive. So for those of you who may have just tuned in, I'm Dr. Simonds. This is Michelle Kennedy. She's a nurse practitioner. We're doing an Ask Me Anything session on Facebook, live in our Raleigh office, which is on Falls of Noose Road. And it's out by 540 across from Lafayette Village and next to Piper's Tavern, for those of you who know the area. We are open today, and we're going to be open all week. And you can call us, and we can help. We can get you on the schedule to come in for a follow-up. We can also do your appointment by over the phone and send you your medicine. So we're being very versatile in this regard, and our office is a safe environment to come to from a disease transmission standpoint. And we're not allowing sick people to come to work, and we don't want you coming in here sick, and we'd rather do you follow-up over the phone if that's the case. So anyway, we're taking all the necessary precautions, but we want people to know that we are in fact open. Yes, so this is another good question from Kara. Kara's question is, do a lot of our patients have thyroid disorder, and is it harder to help somebody who has this? And Michelle, what's your take on that?
Great question. I actually get this question a lot because we do have a good amount of female patients, and estimates are that upwards of potentially 1 in 5 women at some point in their life will suffer from a thyroid condition. So it's definitely a common thing. And yes, we do have a lot of patients because it is so common, yes, female and male patients that struggle with thyroid issues. And I believe that although it is important in order to be able to lose weight, that the thyroid needs to be managed, we do not have to manage it differently because you have a thyroid disorder. We are going to recommend the same things, and I have patients with thyroid issues that have wonderful results, despite being on medication for their thyroid. So we need the thyroid to be in balance, so proper medication, treatment, lab tests need to be within range. But I wouldn't say it's harder to help. No.
That's right, exactly. So you can lose weight if you have a thyroid problem, and I tell people this all the time. And if you, if you don't lose it as fast as you like, well, that's fine. You can still lose weight, and so it's not a reason to give up. I don't want you to think that that hey, I've got hypothyroidism. I'm screwed. I might as well not,
there's still hope.
This. That's correct.
Still hope.
Yeah, I always say the finish line's the grave. Even if you're losing slowly, right? You still got to lose, and you got to keep it off. It's a long-term thing. So if you're losing it at 3 pounds a month or 10 pounds a month, you're going to end up in the same place, and you're going to have to maintain that weight loss for a very long period of time. And so don't be discouraged. Don't ever let that be a reason not to try, because I can tell you this: obesity will kill you. And it will kill you with a lot of other problems. And for the record, it's killing about 300,000 Americans a year. And that doesn't count all the associated problems that it causes. When you count those, it's more. And it's way more than the coronavirus. And so ignoring it is not a real good idea. Dealing with it is what you should do. And so preventing it, treating it, and overcoming it, that's what you ought to be thinking when you think obesity. Whether you have a thyroid issue, whether you have diabetes, whether you have any kind of endocrine issue, that should be your thought process.
And that's what we're here for.
That's exactly right.
To help you. You don't have to do it alone.
We're going to be ending in a few minutes, so keep your questions coming if you got them. We're going to keep this Ask Me Anything video on Facebook so that you can go back and look at it. And we're going to be scheduling another one fairly soon, so this won't be your only opportunity to participate. We really thank you for participating, and we want you to follow us on our Facebook page and check your emails. We send out a lot of emails with announcements and cool discounts and telling folks about these sorts of events and resources they can take advantage of. We put a lot of work into that, and so don't totally ignore them. They won't take a lot of time to read. And thanks to Michelle and some of the other staff in both offices and my producers of this event, I used to design the emails and they kind of stunk, to be honest with you. They were not visually very appealing and stuff. But I can tell you they look really good now, so I want you to check them out, because a lot of work goes into that sort of stuff. And some of the followers on this, they're watching this thing, say we agree. So anyway, do we have time for another question? Okay, all right. So there is a question about nachos, and when you make nachos with tortilla chips, that's a high carb thing. So what are some options? And I happen to like this question because I can think of two. This is from Liz.
Thank you, Liz.
Yes, Liz's question. And I know Liz. Liz has a couple teenage daughters. They like nachos too. So you got a couple options. I know that I've made them using pork rinds before. Pork rinds work just fine, and when you melt the cheese on top of them, they're fantastic, right? And you can put other toppings on there, and that's a zero carb nacho monster, right? But we have some tortilla chips here that we sell from a company called Quest, and you could use those too. Yeah. I wish they sold them in pound-sized bags. But they don't.
They are little bags, but that's right. It's portion control.
That's right. You'd have to buy several. And we got, by the way, several flavors. They recently came out with a loaded taco flavor that surprisingly is unbelievably like. I don't know how they got that. Those taste scientists got that recipe down, but boy, it does taste like a taco.
Imagine using those in nachos.
Exactly. I mean, they would be really good. So
and they're low carb
right.
chips, high protein, so they're a really good option.
That's
for
right.
Sure.
Yeah, that's right. There's another comment about low carb tortillas, and you could use those, right? So
cut them up and bake them.
That's right. That's right. Those are really high in fiber, and so we don't think of fiber as being the kind of carb that absorbs and raises your insulin level. So you could definitely use those. I've tried different things. There's Parm crisp, which are cheese. It's basically baked cheese that gets firm and gets hard. You could use those.
You can make those at home as well.
Exactly, and I do. Surprising how you can put cheddar cheese in a frying pan
and it gets
and get crisp on the edge. And you take it out and let it cool, and you got chips, right? So anyway, I think there's a few ways we just pointed out to go about that. If you want more ideas about stuff like this, we would encourage you to check out our Instagram, my Instagram site at The Casual Keto Doctor. That's at the Casual Keto Doctor. There's a ton of recipes about things just like this, and they're really fantastic. Our website, by the way, it's not just the Instagram site. The website has a lot of recipes also.
And blogs.
And it's correct. There's really a lot of information, and there's links there to the Instagram site, to the Facebook page. And that is simonsmetabolics.com. simonsmetabolics.com. How are we doing? I'm asking the producer here. Yeah, we're on time. We're about ready to wrap up here. I want to thank everybody who attended this event today, and we are really appreciative of our patients who have supported this business, and this is another way to support it. And we want to help you, and we're thankful that during this time, even with the virus and stuff going on, that many of you are still wanting to address the disease of obesity, and you're supporting our business and doing it, and we're here to help you, and in a safe way. And we're open. We want you to call us. We can do your appointments in our office, or we can do them over the phone and send you your medicine. Again, this event has been from our Raleigh office, and there's a lot of our patients who don't even know about this office. We're on Falls of Noose Road in Raleigh, out by Lafayette Village and Piper's Tavern, out near 540. And it's a convenient location with an excellent staff, and they will serve you well. For those of you who haven't been to the Durham office, we're at South Point, right across from Alta and Ted's Montana Grill. And we have convenient hours in both locations, and we can get you in and out quickly, and we'll make sure and practice social distancing and that sort of thing, and not allow big groups to congregate in the office or anything like that. So again, thank you. Thanks for attending, and we look forward to doing another one of these again soon.
Thanks everyone for your questions.